the Samantha Busch tweet, I'll read it for you here. I'll put it on the screen for everybody. She says, not just saying this because we didn't run well, but can we all agree the only exciting part of the race was watching Owen celebrate with Kyle? Obviously, Kyle Larson's son, Owen. Can't remember a Bristol race being that blah in long time. Time to cancel this race car. What do you think of that fiery tweet, Rick Mast?
Well, if you take, I take that statement a little deeper, right? What I take from that statement is she's listening to other folks. She's listening to her husband. Yeah, her husband's not doing good right now with the car, and some other guys are not particularly doing particularly well with this car. But to me, it's like, she's echoing maybe what a lot of the drivers are echoing to each other in the motorhome lot, right? A lot of stuff for fans, a lot of stuff goes on in the motorhome lot during the week between the drivers and the wives. I mean, the driver will come in and he'll be bitching about the car, bitching about this, and then the wife has to listen to it. And then the wife goes, has her little tea or lunch with other drivers, a group of drivers' wives, and they're all sitting around talking, and they'll relate what their husband's frustrations are. Okay, and first thing you know, you've got a theme going on, yeah, in a motorhome lot with the drivers and the drivers' wives, and I really taken this like this is a theme that's going on in the drivers' lot amongst drivers and drivers' wives. I don't know that she would just come out and say that, but just listen to Kyle and maybe the frustrations those guys are having. But the problem is we're too deep into this car. I mean, golly, man, the races have been very good at a lot of places. I mean, Richmond sucked and Martinsville sucked, and if you look at Bristol, a lot of people saying it sucked with Kyle Larson doing what he did. Although I kind of disagree a little bit, but when you hear comments like that from especially drivers' wives, man, you got to really think about. I mean, because I know I subjected my wife to this stuff for 30 years, okay, and I kind of know how this stuff gets around and how it works and the vibes with everybody. And to me, again, I think it might be just echoing what a lot of people in the garage are saying, but they can't do anything about it. They can't publicly come out and say, well, the race car I'm driving ain't worth a crap. NASCAR screwed up. This car is no good. You can't do that. You have to work with what you've got. I mean, the teams really are who asked for this race car, right? They're the ones that wanted this type of racing and this type of race car. And they've continually been working on this thing since the beginning. I mean, they've made changes to it, done this, that, and other. I saw an interesting answer to that, Charlie, on the Samantha Busch thread. One guy said, it's not the car, it's the tire. It's the short sidewall tire. You can't put a rubber band on the outside of a wheel. No, what was it? You take a rubber band and put it on the outside of a wheel. That's made for road courses and other cars, not these cars on ovals, right? And I'm like, that was a pretty interesting take. Now, that's a fan that kind of knows a little bit, and he might be onto something. It could have a lot to do with the sidewall being so short on these cars. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but and everybody goes back to the same thing all the time, Charlie. More horsepower, more horsepower, more horsepower. We got to give more horsepower. NASCAR's already said we ain't gonna give you no more horsepower, right? Well, they've done everything aerodynamically they can do to that race car. There's nothing else they could do for short track racing for that race car. And we're in an entertainment business now, man. Go back and look at some of the old races. Go back and look at a lot of the old races. We're talking about how great it was before, but man, we didn't have 500 laps of side by side racing at Bristol back in the good old days, right? We had good racing. It was always good racing. If you was in your race car, you felt like you were in a Ben-Hur battle, man, with your chariot, right? Golly, bum almighty, Bristol. And it did feel like you were racing in a coliseum in those days. But, I don't know. I don't know how to quantify that. I don't know how to, I guess we'll just have to put up with it every week, listen to people fuss about it and try to make the best we can of it. But again, Bristol was crappy. Martinsville was crappy. I'm not going to go along with Bristol. I mean, Martinsville and Richmond were crappy. I'm sorry, Martinsville and Richmond were crappy. Bristol, yeah, it was crappy. Throw Kyle Lawson out, it wasn't. But anyhow, I digress here, Charlie.